Our mission at Resilient Advisor is to have a significant impact on the retirement crisis by educating and empowering financial advisors to better serve their clients. We bring you industry thought leaders and experts to help you make a difference in the lives of your clients.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Resilient Advisor. My name is Jay Coulter, and today we're speaking with Adam Blumberg, the co-founder of Interaxis and regular on the Resilient Advisor show, especially when we launched our Discovery series where we were exploring Bitcoin for advisors, about a year and a half ago when we first did it. Adam is recently part of a group called PlannerDAO. And when I started researching that project, I realized not only do I not understand it, I have to have Adam come on and explain exactly what DAOs are, and then we'll get into PlannerDAO. Adam, thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Of course, Jay. Glad to be back here, and look, honored to be a regular contributor. And yeah, we started talking about Bitcoin and crypto for advisors. Man, it seems like a really, really long time ago.
Yeah, it really does. And I know that Bitcoin was below 10,000 when we started, but it was very, very timely, both from my educational standpoint, and you were very generous with your time as you're one of the leading educators for financial advisors on Bitcoin. For podcast listeners, visit Interaxis.io, and you'll be blown away by the resources and the certification courses that they have there. But for this interview, Adam, let's focus in on DAOs. And let's start with the basic question. What is a DAO?
Oh, really good question to start out with when you're talking about DAOs is what is it? So DAO stands for a Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And the original idea of a DAO, so the original, as we in the crypto world call it, the DAO, was conceived as something that would be completely algorithmic, completely programmatic, and could essentially be a company on its own. That you could just throw some code out there on a blockchain and it would run on its own. And the original theories were you could set some code out there that would, trade cryptocurrency or something. Or there were some real theories that said there were DAOs you could put out there that would, eventually you'd have self-driving cars and you'd have this computer program that would basically buy cars, be self-driving like Uber, know when to go fill them up, know when to charge, know how much to charge people, and it could all be done autonomously as if we're in the Matrix or Minority Report or something. The problem is the DAO, so the original one that got launched on the Ethereum network, got hacked, and hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars were stolen out of that hack, and so no one really tried to implement anything like it for quite a while. Until a few years ago when someone said, you know what, we can take the idea of governance, we can take the idea of getting a community of collaborators together and organize around some kind of code, some principles and some ideas, use tokens or something to vote, have our own currency essentially. We'll call ourselves a decentralized autonomous organization. Now, we're not exactly autonomous anymore. We're actually people. We do, we talk to each other, we do things. But the idea of a decentralized organization is essentially a group of people coming together around some sort of purpose, collaboration. That purpose can be something that is, as we call charitable work. That purpose can be something like we're all in the same business. We're essentially going to create a business. It could be investing. We're going to come together as a group of people, put our money together and start investing. So we see all sorts of DAOs or decentralized organizations that are functioning that way. They don't necessarily have the hierarchy we're used to in other types of companies. So it's not like someone starts it and says, now I'm going to have a business, then I'm going to go borrow money, and then I'm going to go hire people. They basically say, look, I have an idea, who's with me? And a bunch of people join in, and then they just start doing stuff.
Okay. One of my favorite parts about having you on to talk about this stuff is you are very generous with listening to my stupid questions. And I think the best way maybe for me to understand in the audience is let's go through an example. And we'll talk about PlannerDAO later, but let's start a Resilient Advisor DAO. What would I do? Why would somebody want to, and I know you could take this multiple directions. Why would somebody even want to be a part of the Resilient Advisor DAO that serves financial advisors?
Okay, so if something like a Resilient Advisor DAO would be very, very similar to what we're doing PlannerDAO. Let me move back, if it's okay, Jay, and go. Let's talk about some other DAOs that have been created and some that have been relatively, successful to date. Some that have been successful that we see are investment DAOs. So this is a group of people that maybe got together, and I'm sure you've heard of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, that this happens in the art and collectible world. So a bunch of people get together, pool their money together, but in this case, it's cryptocurrency. So it's put in a digital wallet, a crypto wallet, and then they decide to use that money that's in that wallet to go buy different NFTs, whether it's art or collectibles, and they hold them in the community wallet. So they know who has access to that wallet. They know who has the ability to move things in and out, but the whole community owns it. And then that community might issue their own token and say, if I put in $100,000, and of course I put that in crypto terms, so 100,000, we'll call it USDC, which is US dollar coin, I might get 100,000 tokens in our little DAO. Okay, and those 100, and we're going to take my 100,000 and your 100,000 and 8 other people. We have $1 million. We're going to go invest that in digital art or collectibles. And let's just say that $1 million we invested turns into 8 million. Well, I still have, or 10 million. Let's make the math easy. $10 million worth of art. I still have my $100,000 tokens. Originally, they were worth $1 each. Now they're worth 10 each because we have $10 million worth of assets. That was an investment DAO. We all put in our money. We all get to vote on what we're going to do with it based on how many tokens we own. There are certain rules that we set out. The rules are, here's what we're going to buy. Here's what we're not going to buy. Here's how we're going to vote. If you're going to vote with using your tokens, just like you would with shares of stock or anything else. The difference is with this and like a traditional company or corporation is you honestly don't go through a lot of the legal headaches of it. You don't go through issuing stock or anything like that. You say, we're just going to do it all based on a token in a crypto wallet, which look, you do have some legal and some regulatory and some compliance implications with that. But a lot of the people doing this are saying, look, we're going to do whatever we can do as long as we can do it until the regulators tell us we can't. And I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying that that's where it's gone.
Okay, so that's a much better example than the path I was trying to take us down. Right. In that example, who's making the investment decisions amongst those 10 initial investors?
Well, it's the group. So I make my decision. So there's software that allows me to vote with my tokens, right? So, someone in the group maybe is the curator. That's the person who knows the most about digital art or digital collectibles. Say, look, I found this, Shaquille O'Neal NBA Top Shot that I think we should go buy. Here's why I think we should buy it. And we all chat about it. And then they say, okay, let's go vote. We put it up for a vote on some software that we use. And when I go vote, because of my 100,000 tokens, I get 100,000 votes. If you've put in $200,000 and you have 200,000 tokens, you get 200,000 votes. If we have if our rules say we need a 65% majority for us to make the purchase, then all the votes get added up. If we have 65% that say yes, then we go buy it. If we don't have 65%, then we don't. And that's the end of it. That's what the code says. Okay, imagine if a country were built on that and had some sort of thing maybe called a constitution that we were supposed to follow as a code. That's kind of what it's like. It's kind of like the way the US, not to get philosophical and theoretical and political, but that's kind of the idea, right? We had a code and we're all going to follow it. And we're going to issue a currency for ourselves so that we can grow our economy. That's essentially what a DAO is. It's like a mini United States.
Okay. So for somebody who's just digesting this information, I think a logical question is, how is this different than, say, forming a company with investors where, different shareholders have a say in what's happening to a degree?
It's not horribly different than that. It can be done a lot faster, especially when you say, look, I can get 10 people, and we've seen DAOs spring up really quickly. There's one called Pleaser DAO, which was formed specifically to buy one NFT, and they raised the money virtually overnight to go buy it because everyone just had to connect their wallet and do it. It doesn't take bank accounts. It doesn't take setting up LLCs, going through securities regulation, going through lawyers. It's literally, we're all going to put a wallet together. We're going to get together on Discord or Mighty Network or some other chat network or chat software, and we're just going to make the decision. And we're going to write the code, and we're all going to kind of trust each other a little bit until we have all the rules set in place, and we can build a lot of the software. We can utilize a lot of the software that's out there to make sure that no one runs away with the money or steals the money or anything like that. So it's a little bit different in that respect. And I gave you the most basic example of an investment DAO. There are other DAOs that hopefully financial advisors will learn about. Some of the cryptocurrencies we talk about that are protocols, like lending protocols or protocols that create stable coins, for instance. Some that you or someone else might have heard of, like Aave or Uniswap or Compound. They have DAOs that essentially run the protocol. Because remember, a lot of these cryptocurrencies, it's not a group of people that are in bid. It's not a company that's making decisions. They threw code out there on a blockchain. And then the idea is, okay, we are going to keep this code up. We're going to continue to run this code and make changes if we need to. But instead of one person or a small group of people having the power and having that hierarchy, we say, look, anyone who owns a token can make a recommendation, and then we can all go vote on it based on who has the tokens, and whatever the tokens say, whatever the vote says, that's what we're going to do. So many of the DeFi protocols or the crypto protocols that are out there, again, like Aave, Compound, Maker, they're run by decentralized organizations. So if I own that token, I can go vote on whatever proposals are out there.
Okay. So can you take the proceeds from a DAO and invest in things that are not digital?
Theoretically, you can certainly do that. That means that at some point you probably have to have some legal structure, a legal entity, because you're going to have a bank account, and you can't have a bank account with with your only backing kind of being a crypto wallet. So at some point you are going to need some legal structure. And quite honestly, I mean, we can talk about PlannerDAO in a moment, but that's kind of part of where we've come to with PlannerDAO, and where a lot of DAOs are going to get to is they're going to go, all right, if I want to function in the real world, if I want to be able to pay bills and pay people, then we're going to have some sort of actual legal entity structure here, because we don't want to run afoul of the governments. We don't want to, get dinged by the IRS for not paying taxes or something. So where we're seeing more and more DAO, so you mentioned the possibility of a financial advisor, a resilient advisor DAO, where you might say, look, I have a network of 10,000 people that follow me and watch my shows. That has some value to it. I'm going to create the Resilient Advisor DAO, and I'm going to create the Resilient Advisor token to back that, and I'm going to mint 1 million of those, and I'm going to give myself several of them. But then if someone wants to come in and do some work for me, because we mention all the time, man, we wish we had more people that could do some of our work, right? We get exhausted and we end up doing so much of it. If I had someone that could come in and write some content for me, maybe they'll be willing to do it for my Resilient Advisor tokens that I pay them, and they could be anywhere in the world, and I can pay them those tokens, and eventually those tokens might be worth something. Eventually they might trade on an exchange somewhere, a decentralized exchange, and they might be worth something. Now you, Jay, that didn't cost you anything. It cost you virtually nothing to mint those tokens. And what you did was you created value in them by growing the value of the Resilient Advisor network. And whatever that network means, whether it's you have more content like this, you have more video content, you have more people going to you for content. And what your job then is, I need to build up the value of this token. So when you go to PlannerDAO, that's kind of what we're doing. We're going, look, we've created this organization for financial advisors, and I can wait for you to, ask that question if you want. What is PlannerDAO and how does that work? But
let's go ahead and let's dive right into it. What is PlannerDAO?
So PlannerDAO, we had the idea. We launched this, the Certified Digital Asset Advisor course and certification early this year in February, with myself and my partner Ron with Interaxis and Steve Larson, who is also a CFP and CPA, and has his own RIA in Washington. And we decided to launch the Certified Digital Asset Advisor designation. In May, we decided to launch PlannerDAO. We said we need a decentralized organization for financial advisors. Financial advisors, as you know, are part of many organizations. There's NAFA and NAPFA and FPA, MDRT, all sorts of organizations that financial advisors can be a part of. The thing with all those organizations is you join them, you pay your dues, you probably go to a lunch, you hope to hear a speaker. By the way, I've spoken at probably 15 of those this year about Bitcoin and crypto. Hopefully you get your continuing education, and then you leave, right? You show up, you pay your dues, you go, tell me when to be at lunch. I'll be at lunch, I'll have lunch, I'll learn something, I'll get my CE, and I'll walk out. You don't necessarily get to participate in whatever value that particular organization can build, nor do you really have a lot of incentive to help that organization, except that you go, look, I just want to volunteer, or I want to meet more people or something. You can do it out of the goodness of your heart. PlannerDAO The difference here is we want to create a community of financial advisors, an international community where we can collaborate and help each other. And that the value of having all these advisors together or having all these advisors collaborating has a value to it. We're not quite sure where all that value will come from. We're interested to see where it will, but we already have some really good ideas. So we have a token called the Plan token. So when advisors join our DAO, they go to plannerdao.com or plannerdao.io, they join. If they can prove that they're a financial advisor in the US, the CRD number, they get Plan tokens. Okay, they'll get 100 Plan tokens. Now, it's our job as the DAO, a collective job, not my job, not Steve's job, not Ron's job, anyone else. It's our job as a collective to make sure that that continues to have value. How is that going to have value? Well, PlannerDAO now owns the Certified Digital Asset Advisor designation. So when people get the CDAA and they want to take the exam, they have to pay PlannerDAO for it. So PlannerDAO is going to have revenue. Okay, PlannerDAO has education partners that we want to go teach the CDAA course so that we can have more and more members that take the exam and be certified digital asset advisors. We have all sorts of other ways. I mean, think about it. If you got together with a group of 100 advisors, I mean, you do it all the time, right? You have Resilient Advisor. What could you do? You guys, I'm sure, talk about issues in the business that you'd like to fix. Things that are missing, whether it's benchmarks or indexes or whatever it might be. And you go, man, wouldn't it be great if we could make our own index? Wouldn't it be great if we could have our own risk tool? Wouldn't it be great if we can have our own benchmarking? We can do that. And there's a reason why advisors might want to show up and actually do some work, because the value of their tokens will go up, right? So they get to participate in the value creation we have. If they don't want to participate, that's fine. They get 100 tokens just by being here. But being here and being active makes the DAO, makes the organization more valuable. So that's our goal, is we want to drive the value that a group of advisors collaborating can have, and realize that value for everyone who's collaborating. It's not Adam and Steve and Ron's organization, it's PlannerDAO, and it's our job as a collective to see what comes out of it. We've already had, advisors, again, we had a bunch of advisors join internationally. They're not from the US. And so we this morning, had a brainstorming call with some of those advisors and said, what can we do for advisors in Singapore and in Brazil and in Canada? We don't know the regulations. Tell us. Let's have a group that focuses on what we can do for financial advisors in Brazil to help your cause, to help you with your clients. What can we do for Singapore for your financial advisors? And that's really what we want to do, because when you get this collective and this collaborative, you have a tremendous amount of value.
And so could somebody purchase more PlannerDAO tokens?
Sure. Yeah, they can be purchased from Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange, which is a whole nother conversation, right? But sure, there are Plan tokens available on Uniswap. I believe right now they're probably $1 each. I haven't gone and looked lately. I don't plan to sell mine anytime soon. But yes, they could go do it. And look, part of the value we see is, maybe we say something like, if someone wants to sponsor an event, for instance, if someone says, look, you have 10,000, right now, I believe we have somewhere around 500 advisors. If some company says, look, we really like to pitch an event, we really like to pitch our new product to financial advisors, and we go, look, we have 500 of them. It's a very captive audience. If you want to come in and show, have a sponsored event where you show off your new software, it'll cost you, but instead of paying dollars, you have to go, buy 5,000 Plan tokens to do it. And the goal and the idea there is, we're driving the demand for Plan tokens. And we have a limited supply, and therefore, if we drive the demand, the price should go up, and that should be good for everyone who already has a Plan token. We have, those kinds of ideas that we're running, and we've already had several companies that have sponsored events within the DAO where they have a video, a webinar kind of like we're doing here. They have a webinar, they get to pitch what they want, they get questions asked. We've postulated and we've talked to companies about, hey, if you're trying to launch a product towards the RIAs, we can get you a focus group. It'll cost you some Plan tokens, and you can have a focus group and talk about your product with financial advisors, so you don't have to go through as many iterations of building it. You can ask us directly what we would like in the product. It's just going to cost you some Plan tokens to do that. That's part of the value of having a collection of advisors who are willing to put in some work for the collective.
Gosh, my head is swimming with applications now that I have a
know,
much better
right?
understanding of what you're talking about. And I'm just thinking in our world, obviously there's many, many more outside of our industry. So I know that you guys leverage the Mighty Networks platform for your community. Could you tell viewers and listeners a little bit about what somebody would experience inside of that Mighty Network platform?
Right. So when they come to PlannerDAO, they first see the website. They say join now. They have to fill out a little bit of information, and once they get in, it's a welcome and maybe a question. I think a poll question right off the bat, and then there's a whole there's the main kind of chat going on. People can post articles, or they can post whatever questions they have or things they're thinking about, and then there can be a discussion about it. And then of course after, okay, there you go, Trayton posted something today about an NFT project, and we can all comment, and some of it's going to be fun and some of it's not. There's Crypto for Planners, the podcast that we have, that we had going on. But then we have working groups within the DAO, and the working groups are the ones who, as the name implies, do the work. So we have an operations working group. We have a compliance working group headed up by Matt Koleski of Arbor Digital. We have DeFi for institutions, which is who's using decentralized finance in institutions. CDAA, the Certified Digital Asset Advisor, that's for people who have gone through our course or are currently taking our course. And that's where we can chat amongst ourselves. People can ask questions, and you see it's private. That means you can only join if you're a CDAA member. Operations is Steve's group. Community outreach is how we get more people to understand it. Education working group is mine, because that's focused on the Certified Digital Asset Advisor course and designation. So that's where we actually do the work, and you can request to be a member of these groups. And the beauty of it is we call it's decentralized, in that any advisor can join. And then once those advisors join, they can ask to be part of the group or part of the working group and participate. And the people in the working groups, we have a budget of plan tokens for each working group per quarter, and we can allocate those to the different people that are doing the work within the working groups. So they can make money, or not make money. They can make plan tokens. I don't want to say make money. They can make plan tokens, earn plan tokens by performing some work for the group. Whether or not those plan tokens have any value, we don't know. We don't say that they will or say that they do. They're governance tokens, but the goal is to increase the value at some point. But really, we want a community where financial advisors all over the world can come together and try to make themselves, the industry, their clients, everything a little bit better, and do so in a pretty efficient way.
I love it. Now, how is your course integrated with the PlannerDAO in this platform?
It really isn't integrated within this. So if you go to courses, you don't see our course in there. We use a different product for that. The only way it's really integrated is we tell anyone going through the course, come join PlannerDAO.com or PlannerDAO.io, join the DAO, and then come to the Certified Digital Asset Advisor group so that you can ask questions throughout the week. You can ask questions, hey, Bitcoin dropped a lot today. What does everyone think? What do we think is happening? And we can all chat about it. Or if people have questions, for me during throughout the course, they can say, hey, I didn't understand this, week 2, lesson 4, I didn't understand this topic. Can you go into it? And I might answer it right there, or I might say, look, wait until the live session this Friday, and I'll hit it then. So that's where PlannerDAO is integrated for the moment. Eventually, what it will be is PlannerDAO is where it will be handling the final exam. So when someone goes through the course with another education partner, which we're working with other education partners, when someone goes through the course with an education partner, they will come back to PlannerDAO to take their final exam and get certified. So PlannerDAO will be handling that.
Awesome. Adam, anything else we should know before we wrap this up as it relates to PlannerDAO?
As it relates to PlannerDAO, look, if you're a financial advisor, I would say come join and see what we got. It's one of those things, just like we talked about. Your head started swimming with different ideas about how this could be useful. Come on in and start chatting. If you don't like it, look, it's free to join. If you don't like it, you don't have to show up a whole lot. If you do like it, if you like the idea of being a part of the future of our industry, then come join us and join a working group and see what that's like. It's one of those cool things that you can join and be a part of for virtually no money. It just takes a little bit of time on, from your part, and, a little bit of understanding. And if you want to know, look, get in there, message me right in there. And if you say, look, I don't understand what's going on, we'll make sure that you're matched up with the right people to explain to you what we're doing in here.
Excellent. For podcast listeners, when I asked Adam if there was anything else we needed to know, the expression on his face was, wait, I have 4 more hours we could go on this topic, which he could. Please get educated on digital assets, cryptocurrencies. Visit Interaxis.io and join the PlannerDAO. You can get there by going to PlannerDAO, and DAO is DAO.io. Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, Jay. Again, honored to be a returning guest.